Is this affordable? Renting games from a list someone else picked out for the cost of half a new game? Best deal in gaming? Options are always good, no denying that, but frankly, I'd rather buy and own a game every other month than get the best deal in gaming. It's quite rare that 6 must-play games come out in a year, and I'm desperate to play each of them day one. But if you wait for price drops and sales after a year or two, most games will hit that $30. You can buy 1.5 Silk Songs per month and own it, but is that as good a deal as getting the best deal in gaming, Silk Song Day 1 for only $30 a month? But I'm not here to tell you that you, personally, should cancel your sub to the Game Pass, Best Deal in Gaming TM, or any other subscription. Just to maybe take a moment to think about it. Subscriptions are inherently predatory in nature. They benefit the corporations most. Even Microsoft Office is a subscription now. People forget they have subs, and these corporations bribe the government to not permit customers easy one-button unsubscriptions. It's always a major pain to get out of these things. Call centers are deliberately obnoxious to navigate. People forget their subscriptions even exist. The prices go up on a whim. Most customers don't even notice. You would be shocked how many people find out they've been paying a sub for half a decade and don't even remember what it was for. But let's look past the ethics. We're in a post-ethics world after all. Not even going to talk about how they are putting resolution and quality behind a higher paywall. Cannot wait for an era when the digital deluxe edition carries the 4K textures. Not gonna get into them making a push to force advertisements into games. By the way, this free trial turns in a few years into industry norm. There'll be a time when you will watch ads before you play a video game, and during when you're playing a video game, and the corporate defenders will mock you for pointing out how bullshit that is. Let's talk about you. Ask yourselves these specific questions. Think about this. What do you get from a subscription? In this case, you pay for free game rentals. Now, are those rentals worth $30 a month to you? What would it cost you to buy the games in that subscription that you actually care to play? How much do you care about owning your games? Do you need to play all these games right away, or can you wait? Are you getting that value? If there's ever a time to look at what you have played recently, consider what you have enjoyed and what you didn't. That's all I'll suggest. I won't tell you what to do, to boycott or not. It's your money here. I won't even judge you. Well, I'll judge you a little. Do remember though, your money is your voice. And if you tell them this is fine, they will listen. $15 a month to get all full-price Xbox games was the story just over a year ago. Keep that in mind. We're talking about a 50% increase today, but that price doubled in under 2 years. The best deal in gaming was not just Xbox, but their acquisitions. Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, they're brand new. The first quadruple A studio ever, making the second first AAA game ever, Perfect Dark. Sorry for your loss. Halo, Gears, Fable, and more. That was the deal on paper. What was expected. But it doesn't tell the whole story. Mainly, Xbox Studios phoned it in this entire generation despite having more money, studios, talent than ever before. The story of AAA gaming in a nutshell. What does Xbox Studios even do? Redfall, South of Midnight, Starfield, Avowed, major disappointments. Halo Infinite, one of their worst Halos. No Gears, Doom the Dark Ages left few impressed, which is a shame because the promo material looked metal as hell. As for third-party Day 1 AAA quality, that AAA quality has declined across the industry. These are the sorts of games that you're actually going to feel kind of good that you didn't buy at full price. To be blunt, most of the must-play and great games that might end up on Day 1, the best deal in gaming, happen to be AA or indie games these days that are less than a month of the best deal in gaming. What are 2025's must-plays? Clair Obscur? Silk Song? Those come to mind. Let's think. Pay $60 for 2 months renting these games, or buy and own them at the same price. For $360 a year, you could grab Night Rain, Wu Chang, Oblivion, and order a pizza for every single release, even at these prices. Indie and AA are the only hope for gaming after years of AAA malpractice. They have variety, quality, passion, games that don't have baggage or antagonistic devs, often at very reasonable prices. Paying $360 a year for the best deal in gaming already sounds like a pretty bad deal in gaming. The only group it seems justifiable for are those who always want to play the current trendy new games, streamers who make money off of playing games, and those who prefer playing lots of short games and have very broad preferences. So there is a group that even at this price, this may be a value proposition. But for an average gamer, even one who enjoys a variety of games, chances are they can easily average buying a game a month new, or possibly more, at this price. 10 to 20 games a year is a veritable treasure trove. Most won't have the time to finish that, especially since so many gamers have 1 or 2 long-running sports, shooter, MMO, gacha games they also play, and ever-growing backlogs. Again, this is just me trying to rationally break down how I would look at the value of the best deal in gaming as it relates to most gamers. Only you can decide that value for yourself. For some, they will get more value with the subscription, even at that price, but I think it is very, very fair to say that after this 50% price hike, or 100% in just over a year, the amount of people that this is a best deal in gaming for is much, much smaller. That all said, while there are some defenses for this still being the best deal in gaming for some, one thing I do want to briefly push back on is the so-called additions, such as the $12 Fortnite Crew and the $8 Ubisoft Classics. That's $20 of added junk. That makes the $10 increase a good deal. Here's the thing though, if you don't play Fortnite, that $12 perk for Fortnite is actually worth $0. Ubisoft, also worth $0. Look, if you have one of those food box subscriptions for $50 a week, and suddenly it went up to $100 a week, with nothing added except they bundle in $80 worth of lipstick, you're probably not going to consider that a good deal, unless of course you're a clown, and I don't mean that offensively. Clowns just happen to use a lot of makeup. It's to hide our lack of emotions and how dead we are inside. Gotta say though, $30 a month looks a bit more the best deal in gaming if games were $80. Kind of a shame that fell through, isn't it, Xbox? Not implying anything there, but, well, you know what I'm not implying. Speaking of Xbox, there's a second part of this we want to talk about, the company itself, Xbox. And now it's time for the black pill. If you're waiting for me to say this is going to be the point where Xbox fails, don't hold your breath. If they had, just making up a number here, 3 million subs at $20, that's $60 million. They'd need to retain 2 million of those 3 million subs. Unless a third of players drop Game Pass, this doesn't sting. And if you want me to tell you that a third of Game Pass audience is gonna up-sub, I wouldn't bet on it. People are entrenched in their box. It's mid-generation, so everyone's already picked which box they want to stick it in. But that's exactly why this price increase is happening at the halfway point, instead of right before the next box is dropping. Not that I'm implying what I'm implying. People are convinced by some clever marketing and cheaply purchased influencers that this is the best deal in gaming. And those influencers are still going to be chanting that when it hits $40, when it hits $50. This is going to lead to Xbox's most profitable year ever. There's the black pill. That is what will come of this, and when it does, the influencers are probably going to be seal clapping proudly for the revenue and declaring corporation made more money mean corporation more good. So we can talk about $360 a year could get you half a dozen games, how there's rarely that many quality AAA titles a year anyway. Xbox doesn't care if line goes up. Game Pass is Xbox right now. That's the entire brand. They decided to market it that way. Xbox went all in on Game Pass. People don't talk about Xbox quality games, unless of course they're using the same sardonicism we use with Ubisoft Open Worlds or Blizzard Milk Thieves. The best deal in gaming, Xbox, is Game Pass. So let's talk past, present, future. Once upon a time, they kept the day one on Game Pass flowing. They kept the costs reasonable. Best deal in gaming became the cult mantra, and that built the user base that got people subbed. The present, this price hike is them saying they hit the limit. They cannot grow anymore. It is time to cash out. And their wager is that most players are gonna stay. Maybe they still think the deal is worth it, or they forgot to cancel their sub, or they aren't paying attention to price changes. They don't even know about the hike, or because of the sunk cost of the console, gamer score, library they already have through Xbox, they were convinced towards brand loyalty. They were told it was the best deal in gaming. Look, once you pick a side, once you think you are right on something, it is nigh impossible to change anyone's mind. The console war was a double-edged sword. The positive is 2 generations ago, it fueled some of the most aggressive exclusive libraries in gaming history. It meant we got a metric ton of games on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, all seeking to outdo each other's quality. And that is good for gaming. And because the console war is now dead, we now have a pathetic generation where neither side has bothered to even show up and put their shriveled up little peanuts on the table. But the negative is, gamers that bought too hard into side blue or side green began to loudly excuse every single bit of wrongdoing from their corporation, and shout down anyone pointing out the obvious flaws. Well, those flaws went unaddressed. They grew, they became systemic, and now they're foundational. They have rotted the very core of these corporations. And now, both of these corporations suck at making games. Xbox might suck more, but to not mince any words, PlayStation 5 did not win this generation. Xbox lost it. So, the future. This is calculated. They don't expect a large amount of lost subs out of this. Scenario 1, they're probably correct. And since they're probably correct, it means in 2 or 3 years, that price will go up another couple bucks. And then another. And it will keep going until they finally hit that breaking point, at which point they get down on their knees, they apologize, they grovel, they say, "We have heard and listened to our fans. We have made a mistake." And all their influencers are gonna praise Xbox for backtracking slightly, for listening to the fans. That is how this business works. It's pathetic, but it works. Future scenario 2, they walk this back to $20 and they apologize. Congrats to the fans. You just successfully boycotted a massive corporation. That would be those Game Pass cancellations hitting them really hard. People voted for their wallets. Wake up, you're dreaming. Let's face it, this is a price hike they've wanted to do for a long time, and they're gonna make sure this price hike sticks. Xbox, they're gonna announce record Game Pass revenue, record profits, record growth, declare Game Pass a huge success. The influencers will praise Xbox for the price increase. They'll make a big deal about how many people are now subbed to Game Pass as the line goes up for that too, due to the so-called free with advertisements tier. And they're gonna gloat over how good it is for gamers that the price went up and the best deal in gaming got a bit more value to it. And then they start to talk about when the next price hike happens and for how much. So if you like voting with your wallet, spend a whopping $0 to like, comment, and subscribe. That's a 50% increase from the previous price of $0. And if you think I won't raise that price again, I'm a lunatic. I'll do it again, and I apologize for absolutely nothing.